Welcome to the Dewey Show, where I talk about news, current events, and everything else that I think you'll find interesting. The Dewey Show only partners with companies that I think are the best in their field, which is why the Dewey Show is brought to you by AdamMel.com. AdamMel.com has literally thousands of items that will spice things up in your bedroom. AdamMel.com has sex toys, anal douches, lubricants, BDSM equipment. Like I said, literally thousands of items. As amazing as that isn't even the best part, folks. The best part is if you go to AdamMel.com and you use the offer code Dewey at checkout, you'll get 50% off of almost any one item, as well as free and always discreet shipping. That is AdamMel.com, AdamMale.com, offer code DEWEY. The details are in the description of today's episode. Thank you to AdamMel.com. Hey, beautiful folks. I hope that you're doing well today. I appreciate you tuning in. If you did not know, the Dewey Show is now available on YouTube. So you should go over to youtube.com/Dewey Show and subscribe to us there if you want to. Yeah, it's made things more convenient. Today's episode is a detailed exploration into one of the most famous and controversial trials of the 20th century. The trial of O.J. or Orenthal James Simpson. Welcome once again to the Dewey Show. I'm your host, Dewey, and I'll be guiding you through the intricate web of events, personalities, and social impacts surrounding this landmark case. On June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were brutally murdered outside of Nicole's Brentwood home in Los Angeles. Nicole was the ex-wife of O.J. Simpson, a former NFL superstar, actor, and broadcaster. O.J. Simpson quickly became the prime suspect in the investigation. This led to what would become known as the trial of the century. Hey, that wasn't bad, was it? That dramatic reading of it? The prosecution, led by Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden, built their case around physical evidence. They pointed to DNA evidence, including blood found in Simpson's Ford Bronco at his home, and they also found some on a glove that was discovered at the crime scene, which matched Simpson's blood type. Additionally, they presented evidence of Simpson's history of domestic violence against Nicole Brown Simpson. Now, here's the defense's argument. Simpson's defense team, dubbed the Dream Team, included high-profile lawyers like Johnny Cochran, Robert Shapiro, and Lee Bailey. The defense argued that the evidence had been contaminated and tampered with or planted by LAPD detectives, notably Mark Furman, who they alleged was racially biased. Cochran famously said, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." And then he repeated it again and said, "If the glove does not fit, you must acquit." And then he repeated the same thing one final time. He was referring to the moment Simpson appeared to struggle to put on the bloody gloves during the trial. The trial was a media sensation, one of the first to be broadcast live on television, captivating millions of people worldwide. The extensive coverage and the personalities involved turned the trial into a real-life soap opera. We'll explore how the media's role influenced public opinion and the trial's proceedings, driving into debates on race, celebrity, and the justice system. And I just want to say, before we continue with this, I've done a very detailed, I've written down this very detailed script, and I just gotta say, this is barely scratching the surface, and I spent about 4 hours doing research on this episode, because I was going to release an episode when he died, but Just to take a quick break here to remind you folks that today's episode is sponsored by AdamMale.com. AdamMale.com has literally thousands of items that will spice up your sex life. They have sex toys, condoms, lubricants, anal douches, BDSM equipment. Like I said, thousands of items. You'll be like a kid in a candy store. So head over to adammel.com, and if you use the offer code Dewey at checkout, folks, you'll get 50% off of almost any one item, as well as free and always discreet shipping. That's adammel.com, ADAMMALE.com. Offer code DEWEY. Along with everything else I talk about today, this information is in the description of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we're back. Continuing on, crucial testimonies came from Cato Kalin, I think is how you say it, who lived in Simpson's guest house, and Brian Cato Kalin, and Alan Park, a limousine driver who testified about seeing Simpson the night of the murders. Another moment that stood out was the playing of the Furman tapes. They are recordings that revealed Furman using racial slurs, casting doubt on his testimony and his credibility. On October 3 of 1995, after less than 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. I almost always say Anna Nicole Smith. I don't know why. But it's Nicole Simpson, Nicole Brown Simpson. The verdict denied America along racial lines, with many seeing it as a miscarriage of justice or a victory against a racially biased system. We'll discuss the immediate reactions and the long-term impact of the verdict, including the subsequent civil trial that found Simpson liable for the deaths of and ordered him to pay $33.5 million in damages. The Simpson trial highlighted issues of race, celebrity, and media influence in the justice system. It sparked conversations about how domestic violence, the reality of DNA evidence, and law enforcement's relationship with the black community, and I would just say people of color across the board, needed to be examined, and still does, and it needs to be fixed where there are holes. The lasting effects of the trial on American society, the legal system, and the media landscape were all things that were impacted by this. It is. So, basically, Furman, he was a police officer. I want to say he was a sergeant. I don't remember his rank. I don't think it really matters. And you got to keep in mind that this trial was after the beating of Rodney King. You know, that wound was still very fresh. They beat that poor man so badly, the cops did, for without probable cause. Without what's it called? Not probable cause, but that he did. Mr. Furman. What am I trying to say here? Mr. King was beaten severely by police officers, and it was very fucked up. And so you better believe that that was brought up during the trial. And so they brought it up, and the jury they acquitted him. So it is what it is. You know, do I personally think he was guilty? At the time, if I could only watch the trial, right? Let's pretend that I'm a juror, right? And I see that the glove won't fit Mr. Simpson's hand, right? I'm going to see what I can do about getting a question to the judge, which is, how long was the glove outside? How long has it been sitting in evidence? Etc., etc. Because personally, I've owned hundreds of fucking leather gloves. You can ask Seth. I've owned many leather gloves, and some I've forgotten outside or something, and when I find them in the spring, they'll be all shriveled up because they're cold. And it irreparably fucks up your gloves. So, yeah, I would want to know what the cops, where they found them, all of that. Folks, I ask you to subscribe to The Dewey Show wherever you're listening to us from. Also, please subscribe to us on YouTube. We are at youtube.com/Dewey Show. And finally, I ask you to please support today's sponsor, adammel.com, by going to by using the offer code Dewey at checkout for 50% off of almost any one item, as well as free and always discreet shipping. They have thousands of items such as sex toys, condoms, lubricants, underwear, BDSM equipment, you name it, you'll find it there. So yeah, please head over to ADAMMALE.com and use my offer code DEWEY at checkout. Thank you so much. I appreciate you folks for listening. This is part one, because it looks like the other half of my notes were deleted. But yeah, I'll upload the different part, and we'll go through what was seen at the crime scene and things of that nature. And I do want you to know that the next episode, there will be a trigger warning on it. Okay, folks, I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. And folks, keep in mind that we must stay engaged, because democracy thrives when we stay informed. And the last thing I'm going to say is love is everything.